Hey everyone, Kyle Bohannon here with another episode of the Art of Physical Fitness show, theartofphysicalfitness.com, and today I am answering a question via Facebook from a friend and a former online client, James, who was asking me about how to go about training his two younger brothers, a 14 and a 16-year-old, who have no training experience whatsoever, and how to go about safely progressing them to the point of being able to squat and deadlift and bench as well. So this is my response to that. Again, a little bit different of a video today. Instead of seeing my face, I wanted to do this little PowerPoint presentation so what I was saying could be a little more clear and maybe it'll make a little more sense out of what I'm trying to say. So let's first break down the squat and the progressions to go through. So step number one, getting yourself to being able to do a bodyweight box squat with a goal of 2 to 3 sets of 25 reps. With this is stage one. A kid might, James, your brothers might be past this stage, but it doesn't hurt to start off at stage one and build from there. And just remembering the 4 simple cues that I do for all new athletes, all new trainees is first, chest up. Second, hips back, or thinking butt back the entire time. 4, moving right down. Knees out as we go down and up. And the final one, either big toes off the ground or just stay on the heels, press through the heels, however you want to explain it to them. But those are the 4 keys. So building our bodyweight box squat, really teaching us, the athlete, to sit back and working upwards of 25 reps for a couple sets. Then the next step, well, we just remove the box and work a bodyweight squat for, again, 2 to 3 sets, 25 reps. When they have good proficiency there and their technique is on tap, now we can start weighting it, and I prefer to weight it with a goblet squat. If you're not familiar with it, if you, go to YouTube and check out some videos. But goblet squat, you're holding either a kettlebell or a dumbbell right underneath of your throat, or right underneath your chin in front of your throat, and squatting down, making sure your elbows go inside your knees. I like to use 45 pounds for 2 to 3 sets of 10 reps as my standard. 45 pounds, well, frankly, because that's the weight of a bar. And then also in conjunction with that, I like to see them have a proficiency in lunging. And so I want to see them be able to do walking lunges with 25 pounds in each hand for 10 total lunges per leg or 20 total steps. And then finally, once they are able to accomplish that, we can start squatting with the bar, whether we're talking front squatting, back squatting, safety squat bar squatting, zerker squatting, whatever, what have you. But with a goal in the main, either a front or a back or what have you. A goal long term, this isn't anything, but a just good standard is 2-time bodyweight squat. But depending on their goal, it can be anywhere, but that's just a good goal that I like to see. Now, you didn't ask about jumping, but I feel it's important to get into that. And I would say at level 3 is a good place to begin introduction into jump training. So, again, starting from level 3, I would do about 2 weeks of depth drops from about 12 to 18 inches. This first week is teaching your brothers how to properly land in a jump with proper mechanics on the balls of their feet, not too far forward, not too far back, with good landing posture, knees out, athletic stance, knees not caving in. From there, you progress on to box jumps, teaching them how to explode up onto an object without having to deal with the high forces of coming down from such a height. Now, the third set would be doing squat jumps and hurdle jumps. We're just progressing along. We're going to put step 1 and step 2 together. The deceleration of the drop and the acceleration of the jump. And now we're putting it together with a hurdle jump or a squat jump. Now, with the hurdle, I'm talking about a hurdle that might be 12, 18, 20 inches high, so it's nothing dramatic, and I'm making sure that they jump over it and then come down with a strong, solid landing that you taught during the depth drops. So it's nothing rapid. The squat jumps, again, maintaining that good form that we discussed and the squat progressions, but from the just working on exploding, absorbing, but not real quick yet. We're not into that typical plyometric activity where it's real quick ground reaction times, or amortization as it's called. But that's what we get into next. Number 4, multiple hurdle or bench jumps. Again, I'm not talking about crazy high hurdles, 18, 20, maybe if they can 25-inch hurdles, or just what I use at the gym is bench jumps with the athletes, that have them jump over 18-inch regular flat benches and have them just be real quick in between each bench, teaching them how to be reactive for our overall goal of being triple broad jump. So we're conditioning the body to, over time, again, step 1, stop. Step 2, jump up. Step 3, combine the two. Step 4, do it a little quicker. And then step 5, getting herself to what I believe is the ultimate test. And you might say vertical jump, but I believe if you have the space, I think a triple broad jump, and it's what I use as my testing parameter to see if the athlete is progressing, is the king in that regard, is how I feel. And so in that goal, and the goal long term is getting a kid 25 feet, or if you're upwards of 30 feet or more, you got incredible power, as well as more than likely great elastic and reactive strength abilities. So that's your progression for jumping to move through. Again, it's not clear cut this way. I have my new athletes, a lot of time they will triple broad jump because it is a testing parameter for us. So even if they come in and it doesn't look very great form wise, they are real quick on each successive pop, pop, pop. It is jump, pause, reset, jump, pause, reset. Even all that being said, it gives me a standard and gives us a standard to improve by and look for. So, but let's get right back on to subject next up, deadlifting progressions. So again, depending on the athlete, it can vary, but a good plan is to start off with back raises. It's very simple back extensions depending on, it's done on a 45-degree bench apparatus. If you've seen them around, you've probably used them before yourself. But the goal here is to very easily, with minimal abilities to mess up form, because with the hinging pattern, which we're after teaching, can oftentimes is very corrupted. And so we need to take a slow approach. And first, through back raises, is going to strengthen the appropriate muscles in the hamstrings, lower back, and glutes. And here, goal is 25 to 35 pounds, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 reps. Once we get to that point, you should be sufficiently strong enough and have sort of an idea, if you maintained a flat back and had good form throughout the back raise, of what a proper hinge feels like. So you move on to the dumbbell Romanian deadlift, or RDL, next. And if you have trouble, the first progression is going into butt to wall. So standing 6 inches or more away from the wall, and just work on with soft knees, not locked out knees, soft knees, pushing your butt back to the wall. And then once touching, pop the hips up and squeeze the butt. And then with the hands, hand-wise, going down. You can go down as far as they can with maintaining hinge, not squatting. It's not about bending the knees, more so just continue pushing the butt back, 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 while maintaining a flat back. So if they go mid-shin is where I like to see, but some athletes can, if they got the flexibility in their hamstrings to do it, they can go all the way down to their shoelaces while maintaining a complete hinge without any significant extra knee bend other than what they initially started with. But my goal with the dumbbell RDL is to get them to 25 pounds in each hand, 2 to 3 sets of 10 reps. At this point, I know they have a good pattern, and it's not just the weight concerned, but they're able to do that with great form where it's complete hinge, no knee bend. And at that point, I feel that they're capable, they have it ingrained in their body to an extent to be able to handle kettlebell swings. Now, it might not seem traditional to go straight into a ballistic exercise, a power exercise, but in this case, the kettlebell swing, it is perfect and teaching explosive power in the hips in the hinging pattern. And if you start off with a double hand swing, then progress into single arm kettlebell swings, it's incredible for teaching, continuing to teach proper hinging and power and ingraining it all together. I like to see 12 to 16 kilograms, 12 for girls, 16 for boys, usually for around 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 explosive reps, keeping the weight above the knees at all times. Again, proper hinge, just pushing the hips back, as Dan John says, attacking the zipper, attacking your manhood, and just being smart enough to get yourself out of the way so you don't end up with some significant pain, if you will, rolling around on the ground. But once the athlete masters these kettlebell swings, I like to move on to trap bar deadlifts normally. But if you don't have a trap bar, pulls from blocks would be an applicable replacement. And the goal here is just to teach the athlete how to now pull from a dead stop. So traditionally, if you went straight, you could go straight to a regular deadlift, but your brothers James might be ready for it. But I feel the trap bar, it's a little easier to learn, and it provides a little easier case of maintaining the form that you've developed while pulling from the ground. Because if you've probably noticed, I mean, it's a completely different animal pulling from just a stretch and an RDL where you drop down but you don't touch the ground and pull up. It's a completely different feeling pulling from the ground. We have to learn to stay tight and grind it off of the ground and then explode up through it. So I either like trap bar if you have a trap bar. If not, pull from blocks so you don't have to worry about going all the way down, or just start light in your deadlift. But Again, at my gym, it's always trap bar deadlifts, and my goal is to get them to about a 1.5 times their body weight trap bar deadlift. And then moving on, once you get to that point of strength-wise, you're good. You should be good to go to do any deadlift variation that fit the athlete, whether conventional, sumo, and if they have the flexibility, perhaps snatch grip deadlift or deficit deadlift and all the other variations. But you should be at this point. And again, just like the squat, you don't have to reach this level depending on what your goals are and everything. But I think a very good level is 2.5 times your body weight or more. But 2 times for your squat, 2.5 times body weight for your deadlift, and you'd be stronger than 90% of the people we ever come across. So finishing this up, moving on to the bench, which I have a love-hate relationship with when it comes to certain athletes, depending on what they need. But if we're just talking about a person who wants to get stronger, and more muscles in the upper body, more jacked up, a bench is a great exercise to achieve that. So you have to discern what is important to you. Is this for an athlete who's, say, a baseball player, where benching might not necessarily be something that we need? But regardless, this is the progression I would go through. First steps, starting off with push-ups. There's a whole list of progressions here just to be able to do push-ups. I didn't want to waste your time right now on that. I figure with a 14 and 16-year-old, they should be good for push-ups. If not, at the very base level, because you can start with wall push-ups and scaling down from there, but they should be able to get pretty close. If not, either use a medicine ball, small medicine ball, or tennis ball even, just to make sure they're hitting depth and staying tight in their abs. Mentally cueing them to stay tight in their abs and their glutes while they're doing this. But moving on, 2 sets of 25 reps is what I'm looking for, or perhaps 50 reps in a minute is a good starting point. Moving on from there, you're just going to elevate your feet to, I use a bench, and your goal here, 2 sets of 20. Staying tight, good form. Step 3, once you've mastered that, moving on to diamond, or fingers together, or simply if you can... That's actually the more advanced version as opposed to a closed grip, where you go more military style with hands directly underneath of your shoulders. So the closed grip is actually the earlier progression than the diamond, but a goal of 2 to 20. So I might have gone ahead, you can adjust that here and put closed grip as 3, diamond as 4, and then 5, moving on to repeating those push-up variations, but now adding 10 to 20 pounds. You could just continue to repeat through that type of cycle, adding weight each time you go through, or I would go through it one time, getting used to a little extra external load, and you can progress from there and go to even harder variations, working up to 1-arm push-ups. But if you wish to get into the bench after repeating with some added weight, then I would add in your typical benching. You might want to start with dumbbell if you want, but if you feel chomping at the bit, which I understand, to get to regular benching, just flat benching, wide grip, closed grip, various Swiss bars and whatnot benching, that would be the point that you would reach it at. So that concludes the progressions that I use with the athletes at my gym, and which I suggest for every person, whether athlete or not, who is getting into training, to follow to get to the stages needed to be to safely squat, bench, and deadlift, which are critical movements for just badassery all around. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. James, I hope this answers your questions to the fullest. Anyone else who's got questions that you'd love for me to answer, just click on the link down in the lower right hand corner that just says got questions. Click on that. It'll take you to a page to ask a question. Ask me away. I'll be happy to answer, and if I feel like it'll help others, I'll answer it via video in some form. So until next time, I appreciate you guys for stopping by. Best wishes. It was Kyle with the Art of Physical Fitness Show, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.